What's up, guys?
Welcome to episode 4.
We are back for another episode. It's been a while. We apologize. A lot going on.
We are
always.
college students. Life gets in the way, but we're back this week.
The eclipse, which we couldn't even see, took priority last week.
Very upsetting.
So upsetting.
Had very high expectations. They were not met.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's all right.
I saw
We're
some
here.
videos from Texas, and those looked pretty cool. So
Yeah, which I got did you get the experience back in 2017?
Yes, I did.
I
I
did
was in
too.
Atlanta, so it wasn't the peak of what people could see, but it got really dark. It was all that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was, is what it is. But today we have some more exciting things than what the eclipse was.
Yes, so I'm going to be talking about the Masters. I'm going to be breaking that down. I, for one, don't know too much about golf, so we're going to be looking at that and the terminology there.
Guess who played golf in high school? I don't know as much as I should, to be honest, who have actually played competitively, but
She'll help
tell
me
you
out
a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And then just a little update on the transfer portal with Tennessee and all of that craziness.
Awesome. Excited to hear about all of the new things.
Yes.
And then I am only talking about one thing today because it is a big deal, and that is the Trump hush money trials. They started today, which is Monday, April 15th. I don't know when this video will actually be coming out, so we'll probably have more details by then, but we're going to get into that.
Perfect. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, let's get started.
Okay, hey guys. Now it is time for the sports segment. We did just record the sports segment already, but we weren't recording the audio.
That would be my fault.
So we're just going to do it over. It's going to be even better. So this is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so starting off strong, the Masters literally just happened this weekend. By the time you guys see this, it'll probably be like a week late.
Yeah.
But big stuff. It's one of the 4 main professional golf championships that they have. The first one is the British Open. Then there's the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship, and of course the Masters. One thing that's unique about the Masters is that it's always in Augusta. The rest change location every year, but they like to keep it in Augusta. I said that weird.
Augusta is hard to say.
Yes.
Augusta.
It's also, so it's in Augusta, Georgia. It's like 2.5 hours from Atlanta, but the weather is always unpredictable. So it makes it exciting and different every time. It's unpredictable.
Golf is unpredictable. That is,
Yes.
weather plays a huge factor. I played golf competitively in high school for, I guess, like 3.5 years. And we were out there, rain or shine, as long as there's no lightning, because you're literally holding a metal
That
rod
would
in
be
your
bad.
hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, wind, but it's fun.
I know. And I'm trying to get more into watching it. My dad loves it, but I'm not an expert on it. So today, for those of you that aren't an expert on it just like me, we're going to be breaking down the terms. So there's something called a par, which is the set number of strokes assigned to each hole. So that's what you're supposed to be like shooting for. And then a birdie is when you shoot 1 under par. So that's a good thing in golf. You want to have like as low a score as possible. And then there's the opposite, which is a bogey, and that's when you shoot 1 over par. You can also get a double bogey, so that's 2 over par, and etc. You won't be seeing as many double and triple
Right.
bogeys in these kind of professional settings because they
Which,
are really good golfers.
In high school girls golf, we actually had a limit. So I don't know if the Masters has a limit. They probably don't need one. But like in high school golf, you could only shoot up to double par. So if it was a par 4 and you took 8 strokes, they'd just cut you off. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, time to wrap it up, go to the next hole, because it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of walking. Nobody wants to wait for that.
And then with the Masters, they cut off a certain number of people after the rounds when it's like understood that you won't be able to come back and win this, so that they're not taking too much time playing too many people. Okay, so the Masters is from Thursday to Sunday, so they have 72 holes. And then for this specific tournament, there was a 4-way tie at one point for first place, which I know is kind of crazy. Scott Scheffler ended up winning. It all turned around for them at the 11th hole when a bunch of people went into the water on accident, but he had a really good shot, and so that kind of set him apart from everyone. He won by 4 strokes over Aubert, who we're going to talk about in a minute. He was 11 under par to finish the tournament. very impressive.
Super impressive.
Yeah, so he's 27 years old. This is his 5th Masters, and he has won 2 out of the last 3 Masters.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, people are saying that he's unbeatable.
How did Tiger do?
Yeah, so Tiger's obviously a fan favorite. He finished at the bottom of players who made the cut with a 16 over par score.
Oh, wow.
I know. So that's obviously not his best, but it is his 24th time qualifying for the Masters, 24th straight time qualifying for the Masters, which breaks the Masters record.
Wow.
So that's still pretty
impressive.
Yeah.
To still be there.
So circling back to someone who's young, Aubert. So he is a 24-year-old from Sweden. This is his first Masters. He's a rookie, and he got 2nd place behind Scheffler.
Wow.
Isn't that impressive? He shot under 3 in the final round with a double bogey and 5 birdies.
If you think about that, that means that Aubert was 1 year old when Tiger qualified for his first Masters.
That's insane.
That is insane.
That really puts it in perspective.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I wonder how Tiger
it,
feels about that.
I know, right? He's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Crazy.
I wonder if they talked about that. I wonder if they.
Yeah. I wonder
Like,
if
had a
any of the
moment.
golfers are like buddies or if they just
Yeah.
see each other's competition, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that's true with any sport.
That's
But.
very true.
So John Ram, or Rahm, to be honest, I'm not really sure how to say that. He was the winner of the Masters last year. So this year he finished 45th with a score of 9 over par. So definitely not where he was last year, but still better than I could do. So
Better than I could do.
yes.
That's for sure.
So moving on from the Masters, looking at other national sports, we're going to talk basketball just for a second. Obviously, March Madness was a little bit ago from when we're filming this, but just brief overview. South Carolina beat Iowa for the women's victory. This is their 3rd time winning the March Madness National Championship in the last 7 years, which is very, very impressive.
Which I don't know her name, but the South Carolina coach had an awesome speech afterwards, kind of commemorating and honoring Caitlin Clark and just how much she has done for the sport and how much attention she has brought to women's basketball. And so it was a beautiful moment having, the coach of the winning team be so, supportive of the other team as well.
Yeah, that's pretty unique. That doesn't happen a lot in basketball, like an authentic recognition of the other team. So that's really awesome. Her name is Dawn Stanley, and she's just totally turned around the South Carolina team. So very impressive. Then UConn beat Purdue. Bye-bye, Zach Edey. Not a big fan because he beat us, Oh, something I also wanted to highlight was that there's this player named Donovan Clingan, is 7'2", and he's on the UConn team. Why is nobody talking about him?
Yeah.
Because Zach Edey's 7'4", and then this guy's 7'2", and no one's talking about it.
Basically just as tall.
Just as tall. He's fine. And then the last basketball news, John Calipari. So he was the Kentucky coach. He's been the coach since 2009. He's taken them to many national championships and March Madness and everything. He just left and went to Arkansas. Big news. Yeah.
Why Arkansas?
That's honestly a great question.
Better, I wonder.
Yeah, I want to know
to be with the team for
scoop.
so long.
I know.
And then
they have been not as good as they were in previous years, but this is a big deal for the SEC. So hopefully that will help us.
Wow.
Now, I will say our basketball team is seeing a lot of changes as well.
Oh, yes.
We have 4 seniors that are graduating. That's Dalton Connect and, some other people. But we have 4 players that are also transferring. Crazy.
Wow. Why are they leaving? Why are they leaving us? I guess they get paid now, too. So that could be.
Yeah, there's a lot of, inside stuff going on that we're not fully aware of. But 2 freshmen, 2 redshirt. Oh, sorry. 1 freshman, DJ Jefferson. He is actually in our class.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
He's transferring.
Wait, what?
I know.
Hey,
Isn't that wild? We should go up to him after class, shove him in a locker or something, you know?
Keep him here.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I know. And then there's also a guy named Freddie who is also transferring. He's a sophomore. He didn't play much, so that was kind of, expected. What was very unexpected were these next two. Okay, so Tobe Awaka, he was a sophomore. He was a forward. He was going to start next year. He did very well towards the end of the season this year. So that is kind of a big deal for us. I'm sure he's seeing this as an opportunity to go play somewhere else and be very successful. But the other one that was very unexpected is Jonas Adu transferring. He was a big part of our team. He's also a forward. He's a junior, and he entered the portal. Very sad about that.
Wow. These are some heartbreaking losses
I know.
we've got going on here.
So we're really trying to recruit some new athletes for our team. It's going to be a completely different team than last year, but at least we still have Zakai Ziegler, who is the foundation of our team as the point guard, So hopefully, he carries that burden for us. Baseball.
Sweet.
All right. It's that season. So fun. I keep putting it off. Now I'm going to talk about it just a little bit. So nationally, we're going to look at some other schools before we come specifically to Tennessee. So Texas A&M just swept Vanderbilt.
Nice.
They are now in number 1 ranking on Baseball America. Yes. So Vandy is a really good team. They were ranked number 5 last week. They moved down to number 13 after this loss.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? So a sweep, just to clarify, is when a team wins all 3 games in a series. A series is when you play 3 games. Every weekend there's a series in baseball now that the season's going on. So that was a big win for Texas A&M. In other news, number 2 is Arkansas in the Baseball America ranking. And then here we are sitting at number 3.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Have you been to a baseball game yet?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't gone. I want to go.
Yeah, I actually went to the LSU game with my parents on Saturday.
Nice.
And then I went and worked the game on Sunday.
Really?
But just with VFL Films, I'm training.
That's fun.
Yes.
That's so much fun.
I know. So I'll be behind the camera and
Nice.
doing all the post-production stuff. So someone to watch on the Tennessee baseball team is Christian Moore. Last weekend before LSU, we played Auburn, and he was actually named co-SEC Player of the Week because he had a home run for every single game in the series against Auburn. So that's 3 home runs back to back to back.
That is so cool.
I know. So then on Sunday, he actually got his 42nd home run, which matches Blake Burke, who's another outstanding player on our team, Blake Burke's record for Tennessee career home runs. So we have the epitome of Tennessee baseball on our hands right now.
Nice. Do we think they're going to
Well, they
I don't know, how do I say that?
Battle it out?
Yeah, are they going to battle it? Who is going to have the most at the end of the season?
I don't know. We'll see. Very exciting though, because to put it in perspective, Todd Helton, have you heard of him?
No.
Okay, so he was a Tennessee player back in the day. He now went on to play professionally and then was just inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, cool.
He actually had, let me check here, he had 38 collegiate home runs, and these people have already passed him, and he's a Hall of Famer. So that's just really shows how impressive this is. Yeah. And then another thing I will say about LSU is that they are ranked number 25, which is the last spot in rankings, but they won the World Series last year. So it just really goes to show what losing players can look like.
Yeah.
They had an outstanding pitcher last year named Paul Skeens. He's dating Livy Dunn, if you guys know who that is.
The gymnast,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
of course. And they lost him. He's now going on to play professionally, and a few other players left, of course, as well. And it's just totally changed the entire dynamic of their team.
That's so cool. It's so...
Yeah.
I noticed that too, reporting on hockey this season, in a minor league team, they do transactions weekly. It is crazy how many players go in and out, but it's insane how different players going in and out can completely change a team's dynamic.
And then it's also insane to me how a coach can have such an impact, because at the end of the day, it's coming down to the talent of the players and the work ethic and their performance. But it's cool that a coach can influence that so much and be so successful with certain teams.
Yeah.
But it really does come down to what players are there. So, yeah, next weekend we are playing number 7 Kentucky. That's going to be a big matchup. We're going to Lexington for that one, so it will be away. But that's a big SEC series, and I'm excited to see what happens. But, yeah, a great outlook so far going into the halfway mark of the baseball season, and we're going to keep you guys updated with that.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yes, that's all I've got.
Okay, guys, it is time for our news segment.
So
this
fun.
Is a big one, and it's starting today, Monday, April 15th. It is the beginning of Trump's hush money trial. Yes, you heard that right. Donald Trump, right?
Yes.
Crazy.
Big
Do
guy,
you know
big
what
name.
this is about? Because I was genuinely confused until I read about it.
To be honest, I know nothing about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the name sounds like intense.
right? This hush money trial is covering 34 counts, felony counts, for falsifying business records to conceal stories that would have hurt his 2016 campaign.
Okay.
So what that means is he is potentially facing 34 felony charges for trying to conceal certain stories from coming up and ruining his chances to win the 2016 election back
Okay.
when that happened. So if you're like me, I'm like, falsifying business records, like what? Like what does that even mean?
That's
like,
what I'm thinking.
what
Yeah.
business are we doing? I'm so confused. So this is where we begin. So these falsified business records are actually Trump's attempt to pay off Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is his attorney.
I
okay?
remember hearing his name a lot,
Yes.
like when he was president.
Yes. So Michael Cohen essentially aided in covering up the stories coming from Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. If you didn't know, Stormy Daniels is involved in pornography. That is her job. And then Karen McDougal is an ex or a former Playboy bunny. So those are two women that he supposedly had affairs with during his marriage with Melania Trump.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happened was when he was running for election, he arranged circumstances to basically hush these women and shut them up so they couldn't speak about his affairs with them so that it wouldn't conflict or cause problems with his election. How is that a business record, you might ask? He used not campaign money, but his business, like the Trump organization, used business money to pay off Michael Cohen after he made the hush attempts happen. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's a whole other set of layers to this. Who is Stormy Daniels? Who is Karen McDougal? What the heck, right? Karen and Stormy don't have anything to do with the trial necessarily. It's
Okay.
actually Donald Trump versus the people, because technically he was concealing things from people for the purpose of pursuing his election.
But it is specifically about these women.
But it is
and
about
not,
those women.
Okay.
But before we kind of get into that, I'm going to break down what AP News said is like the deal.
Okay.
So, quote, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, paid Stormy Daniels $130,000 and arranged for the publisher of the National Enquirer supermarket tabloid, so it's a tabloid called the National Enquirer, to pay McDougal $150,000 in a journalistically dubious practice known as catch and kill, in which a publication pays for exclusive rights to someone's story with no intention of publishing it as a favor to a celebrity or subject or to gain leverage over another person.
Okay, wow.
So that's a lot.
Catch and kill is an intense,
Catch
you
and
know,
kill. So what
phrase.
is catch and kill? Catch and kill is a technique where a news outlet basically buys the rights to a story. So let's say, you know, I wanted Allie to tell me about her experience training on the field for VFL Films. So I pay Allie. I'm like, hey, tell me this story so that no other news outlet can have it. No other form of media can have your story. And so she tells me her story, but then I never publish it.
Very interesting. Okay.
Most of the time, this is known to the person. So you would know I'm never going to publish it.
Yeah.
But then nobody else can publish it either. So basically, you can't talk about it.
Wow.
You could maybe talk about it to your friends and family, but if it gets out, you could be violating your contract.
Yeah. Have a lawsuit or something.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So this is where Karen McDougal's story, it might be McDougal. I say McDougal, is interesting because she entered this catch and kill contract to talk about her 10-month affair with Donald Trump with the National Enquirer, the tabloid, on her own, not knowing that Donald Trump was involved
Oh, wow.
with the catch and kill.
So why would one, if like a newspaper is reaching out to you and saying, I want to like catch and kill this story or whatever, why would you take that just because they're paying you a ton of money kind of thing?
Right. So this is why Karen's story is very interesting. So I watched a CNN, I guess it was an interview that Karen did, and it was like an hour long, and she talked about her experience with Donald Trump and the affair, and she spoke very highly of him. And she said that she was in love with him, he was in love with her, and there were a lot of different reasons why she already didn't necessarily want the story to come out. Not because of Trump, because of her. She wanted her image to be clean. She didn't want people to know that she was having an affair. So a little bit of backstory. When she was a Playboy bunny, she met Donald Trump at the Playboy Bunny mansion for a Celebrity Apprentice special. Do you remember that show, Celebrity
Yes,
Apprentice?
I used to watch that all the time.
Yeah, so she met Donald Trump during a Celebrity Apprentice special. She says that he took a liking to her, and she kind of could tell, and that even some of the other girls at the mansion were like, I think he likes you. Like, what
Very
the heck is
interesting.
going on? And she was totally down for it. She was like, sure, I'm down. And she said that from then on, that night, he actually asked her for his contact, or he asked if he could give her his contact. So she was like, sure.
And he was married at this
He
point?
was married at
Okay.
this point in time. This was in...
And she was married at this point?
No.
Okay.
She was not married. This was in 2006, and he married Melania in 2005.
Okay. Wow.
So this is a year after him and Melania were married. So he gave her his contact and was like, I really like you. Would love to talk to you sometime. So for a while after that, they would call each other. She would call him. He would call her. And she describes it as like being really good friends. Like she said they would talk about everything, like politics, family, all of these things. And she was like, I thought he was the nicest person ever. So they had this really strong relationship. And then one day, he invited her to go to dinner at this fancy restaurant. And his bodyguard picked her up, took her to the restaurant. The restaurant was at the bottom of a hotel, or was that in a hotel? And so she was under the impression that she was going to go eat dinner with Donald Trump at a hotel, which she was a little sketched out about because he's married.
Right.
So, like, you don't want to be seen with Donald Trump in a hotel. But she, I guess, was maybe expecting it to be in a hidden, like a private room, you know, like restaurants have private rooms, things like that.
Right.
They ended up going in the back door of the hotel. And I think this is like a month or like a couple weeks after they had met at the Celebrity Apprentice show. And they ended up taking her to his private room. Like, he had a room at the hotel that he always had. And so they did eat from the hotel. They had it basically like brought up and catered in the room.
Yeah.
And she said they talked all night. It was so much fun. And then they had intimate relations later in the night, which led to their 10-month affair.
10 months is
10
crazy.
months, which
Wow.
she said was awesome. She was like, I
Yeah.
really, really liked him. She told her sister, she told her parents, like.
This is reminding me a lot of the Bill Clinton scandal. What was her name?
Oh my gosh.
You know, yeah.
Why am I blanking on her name? Monica Lewinsky.
Yes.
Yes. Monica Lewinsky.
Yes.
So very interesting. So at the time, Karen kept a journal, and she still keeps a journal. She's always kept a journal. And she would write in her journal every day about things that she did. But when she would talk about Donald Trump, she would just write T for Trump or DT
Okay.
because she didn't want anybody to know for her reputation having an affair with a married man.
Right.
So now, fast forward, Donald Trump gets elected in 2016. In 2016, she gets this deal from the AMI, which is the American Media, or America Media Inc., who owns that National Enquirer magazine.
Okay.
She gets this deal from them. Hey, we want to know about what happened to you with Donald Trump. We want to know all about it, but we're not going to tell anybody. So that way, we're going to pay you this $150,000 so you can keep your record clean. Just put it all out on the table, and we won't tell anybody about it. So she's like, duh, I'm going to take that. I don't want anybody to know that I had an affair with a married man. It's been 10 years, like I want my slate clean. That's awesome.
That's also a little bit scary, though, because if she hasn't told anyone thus far, then, you'd kind of feel like it's more protected than if you go out and tell someone.
Then, in 2018, she finds out that Donald Trump was actually involved in that agreement by sending his attorney, Michael Cohen, in there and basically orchestrating that whole catch and kill thing.
That I would expect that, though.
Right? But she's like, what? Because technically that's illegal. That's a violation of her contract. She had a third party, a mediator, coming in on a contract, and she had no idea.
That makes sense.
So that's when she speaks up.
But at the same time, so she was the one who outed her own information?
Yes. So I'm pretty sure after that, after she found out, she's like, what the heck? And I don't know if she pressed charges or whatnot, but that's when things started to spiral. And she started to speak out, and she told her story to CNN and who's it's and whatnot and all that.
Yeah. Okay, so no one's asking for my opinion, but I feel like if she really didn't want it to go away, she wouldn't mind that Trump also wanted it to go away.
Exactly. The weird thing is, and CNN kind of tried to frame this when I was watching Karen speak. They were like, well, why did you keep a journal? Like, do you know how many times you met? And she's like, look, I'm not, if you're really in love with someone, like, you're not trying to frame them. I don't understand why everyone keeps saying, like, I was trying to frame him and get back at him later. Like, I still keep a journal. She's like, I don't know how many times we met to get, like, up.
Yeah.
We were together for 10 months, like, maybe 5 times a month. Like, I don't know. I really was in love with this guy.
Okay, yeah.
So that's interesting because it's this whole, obviously he had an affair, which is awful. He was married to a woman and had a son.
Yeah, very
at the
true.
time. It still has a son.
Has multiple
children. But from her perspective, this all was from a place of love. And she even said that he told her that he was in love with her, all of these things. So I'm having a hard time understanding how she feels about all of this, because if her only problem with the whole situation is that he was involved in this hush money thing, I don't get it, because she also wanted it. Right?
Yeah.
I guess it's just because it violates the contract, which, get it, that's law.
But if you really don't want it getting out, I feel like if you're having an affair with someone also, neither of you want it to get out.
Right.
So I think she should understand that he didn't want it getting out. So my theory is that she saw that he was the president of the United States. She wanted some attention, or they offered her a ton of money, and she just took it.
Exactly. The deal with Stormy Daniels also is Stormy Daniels' situation is different because she did not have this situation with a media outlet. She was actually paid directly from Michael Cohen.
Okay.
From Donald Trump. So that's a whole different story. You have the potential president of the United States saying, I'm going to pay you $160,000 to shh.
Yeah.
And she took it. I think she took it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a certain number that, I wouldn't refuse to hush.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. So, I don't know. So, that's why her situation is different. So, Stormy Daniels was paid by Michael Cohen, who is Donald Trump's attorney. Karen McDougal was paid out by a media outlet who was secretly meddling with Donald Trump.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the whole situation. Now, once again, the whole trial, Trump's hush money trial, is actually that he tried to cover up his reimbursements to Michael Cohen for kind of doing his dirty work for him. So after all of this happened, he was like, all right, now I'm going to pay you because you're my dude and you helped me out.
You're my dude.
He's like, you're my guy and you helped me accomplish all of this. So I'm going to pay you through the business money and make it look like it was a legal business transaction that I'm paying you for something that, you know, was just a business deal.
All those politicians are shifty.
Politicians are shifty.
Every single transaction is just something covered up, I swear.
Yeah.
How many, he's been under fire for a ton of things,
A ton of
lawsuits and trials and all of that.
Yeah.
Is this just the newest one?
This is the one that's actually going to court right now.
Okay.
So like I said, today the trial began, and they're trying to find jurors. So this is really hard. You have to find 12 jurors from New York that aren't opinionated about Donald Trump, who was president.
Wow.
He is the only former president to sit on trial.
Yeah, and New York is a very liberal state generally. So that's interesting.
How do you find people that don't have a perception about someone who was president of the entire United States?
You literally have to get someone who's lived under a rock.
Yeah. So they're saying that this part of the trial by itself could take days. It could take weeks.
Just finding the jury?
Just finding the jurors.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. A lot of drama.
I know, we just had a little gossip session.
I know, it's a little gossip session about an affair, but that is what the trial is. It actually has nothing to do with the payments that he made to Stormy Daniels or to Karen McDougal. It has to do with the payments that he made to Michael Cohen for doing the dirty work and paying those women.
Wow.
Which both of the women have spoken out for numerous times. So check out AP News. Please check out AP News because they have all of the details and live updates of this trial. Watch the CNN interview with Karen McDougal because I think it is very interesting how highly she spoke of Trump while at the same time being
doing something to destroy his
reputation.
Career.
And also hers, honestly.
Yeah, very true.
So very interesting. And then, like I said, Stormy Daniels has documentaries and stuff. So you can watch her stuff as well. Now,
fun.
That is all I have. That's all I've got. I know that wasn't a lot, but it's heavy. And that is a potential candidate for the 2024 election. So you need to know.
Yes, it's good to look at both sides of everything and what's going on with each candidate so we can update you guys on that story as it develops.
All right, guys, that's a wrap on episode 4.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening. Keep it up and keep spreading the word.
Yeah, we love that we get to do this. We love putting these episodes out, and we hope you enjoyed this one.